Hello, my friends, it's Tim Lee. Welcome to a very messy basement. We're going to fix some printers today, and I figure I'm going to try and record it. Let me give you a history. It all starts right here in the basement with this guy. This is an ANET A8. This is the first 3D printer that I've ever had. I got it for Christmas from my parents because they are incredibly affordable, but because they're so affordable, they are terrible. So I've built this and built pieces into it, and this was my first printer and what started the business that my father-in-law and I started together, making sanding sticks for knife makers. We got so busy that we then went on to this, which is a second printer, which is the really terrible printer of my group because it keeps dying, hot end keeps just going, and that's it. So two of these guys then inspired a third purchase. So I purchased this guy, the Ender 3 Pro, and love it. Got it all put together. It is amazing because it's incredibly sturdy, doesn't need nearly as much upgrades as my ANET A8s did, which you had to print millions of 3D parts for them. This, I just changed it to be a direct drive, and that was about it. And then things went haywire. We had COVID hit. Everyone was looking for face masks. No one could find face masks anywhere, and so I began developing face masks based off of something that was designed here in Montana, and I began printing all these face masks like crazy. Things got so busy, all three of my printers running, and a community growing around supporting me doing that. The community jumped on board and bought me a fourth printer, another Ender 3 Pro. These printers are absolutely incredible. In saying that, they are very loud, very noisy, lots of fan noise, lots and lots of fan noise. And I thought, you know, it would be great if there was a way to quiet them down. Believe it or not, I got a package in the mail which contains two motherboards to replace the motherboards inside these two printers. Enough chat, let's get to work. I have been 3D printing a ton of parts off of both of these printers every single day because I'm attempting to make a 3D printed glider, a remote control 3D printed glider. And I've been very excited about it. These printers are doing a fabulous job, but they're printing while I'm asleep in the bed right there. So you can sense why the loudness of fans running and all those sounds would be so intense. I bought two of these. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't incredibly expensive either, but it wasn't cheap. It came to about $48, $49 a board. Let's just round it up to 50, and I bought both boards at the same time. So I'm broke now. Yeah, 4.2.7, a very simple piece of information here. The other nice thing about this is now I will be able to know when I have temperature runaways. So if the hot ends overheat, instead of just continuing printing, I'll get a notification because these have a overheating thing, which you definitely need. So unfortunately, the only way to get to this is we have to take the printers and flip it upside down to get to the unit down here.
Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Alright, the reason I'm not talking through this is because I'm watching Corridor Crew. I'm in love with their Corridor stuff, and I'm actually watching the podcast with Markiplier, which is pretty good so far. I'm just saying that so you can go and check it out, okay? So far 4 screws, 1 long one, which I don't know where it was, and then 2 small ones here, and then a small one on the front side, and that front plate comes right off. I've unplugged the fan that's on there. That was a piece of cake. So the other thing I noticed, and I gotta show you guys, let me zoom in on this. It might be a wise idea to check out your casters underneath your printer every now and then. Look at how disgusting this is. That is terrible. I mean, it's all pretty self-explanatory for the most part, I would suggest, because I see E, I see Z. These are all marked, so I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and unplug these. Oh, it's interesting. They actually have them glued into place. There is a ton of hot glue across this thing on all sides, so I would say don't just go ripping these off. Get the glue off first, or else you're going to mess up. You'd hate to mess up a cable in the process of unplugging it, so take your time, get the glue off. I did find it helped to unscrew the motherboard of this from the printer itself so it could hang loose. And I'm saving the screws for last here because they got me antsy. Because I recognize them individually, but just with how they're all bundled together, it puts you on edge a little bit. I like to compare and see the difference between the two boards. Thing I do absolutely appreciate is that there is a very obvious difference, which really helps you make some decisions on being glad that you spent the extra $50 to do this. This one does say Creality 3D version 1.1.4, and this one says version 4.2.7. The boards are different, the colors are different. This one has a 15 amp 15 amp fuse. This one does not. Updated jack to the micro, which personally I kind of wish that they would have gone all the way to this Type C, but whatever. Yeah, you can see very obvious differences between these boards that help set apart your choice to do it. I also like that they seem very properly labeled. I probably don't have to look at a manual too much to change all, to get all this plugged in. Now, truth be told, when it comes to the screw-on side of things, there aren't as many notations. So keep that manual kind of close. I'll be needing that a little later on as I'm reinstalling this. I do think what I'm going to focus on first is getting the large wires put in, the large pack here. And then once the large wires are in, then I'll probably bolt the board back into place and then start assembling the rest of it. Now, truth be told, these smaller connectors do not seem to be marked. So that one might take a little bit, because these are marked, but these are not. So I kind of hope that maybe there'll be some kind of information. Otherwise, I'm going to be following cables, trying to find out where they go to. Maybe, possibly, hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Okay, all the wiring is done, though it's hanging a little limply. Oh, well, not all the wiring is done. I still gotta do this one. But I'm almost done here. And the next thing that I am concerned about is if you look at the stuff here, the little informational packet here, it does mention the controllable fans and has a little square with a controllable fan going out. In the previous board...
Such a long time.
Shut up, Ren. In the previous board, there was a fan plus minus here and a fan plus minus here. So it looks like they moved both of those up. And they even labeled them KFan2 and KFan1. So I'm not sure I'm doing the setup that seems best to me for the wiring, but this could be completely backwards, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out. So that will be something that I will be carefully looking at as I move on here. The other thing is that they have a pre-port, which is a 3-pin preset port, is what they call it, and there's nothing to plug in there. The nice thing is they do have a BL Touch optional port, so if you do get the touch panel, they do have the connector for that. And then I know that there's another port on here, and it may be the preset port, which would be for a automatic bed level sensor, which I would actually love to do. So that might be where that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this back up. We'll go ahead and put it on the stand and turn it on and see what happens. If it doesn't explode, that's one step in the right direction. Can't say the temperature is coming up on the bed, which, no, there might be some heat coming in. I'm going to be antsy until this thing is fully functioning, I'm just saying. So let me go ahead and, yeah, it's warming up, but the temperature's not coming up. Why isn't the temperature coming up? That is obviously... Oh, black. Could be the temperature sensor. And then white. Oh, I got it backwards. Okay, I got to turn it off and take this whole thing apart. White is the sensor for the hot end temperature, and then that would mean that the double black wire that's in here is the temperature for the bed sensor. And the white is a fan. Is the white a fan? No, the white is the temperature sensor for the hot end. So I think, if I'm looking at this correctly, nozzle thermistor port. So this is a fan. I'm an idiot. So the white goes all the way to the end, which does not reach well unless you probably take apart all the cabling, which I am not going to do. I have no desire to do that. And then this yellow and blue is going to be a fan. So I'm going to take that and stick that over here into the controllable fan units. That should fix it. Okay, that should fix it. Yep, 34. Don't touch it. 35. I don't want to touch it. I want to make sure that it's actually doing something. And it is. And it seems to be. So this is promising. Let me go ahead and get some sticky glue here on this glass surface. By the way, this is not a channel about 3D printing. I hope you know that. This is a channel about everything. The reason why we don't have any viewership is because this channel is incredibly random, and that's just because I'm ADD. So if you want to support someone who's ADD, subscribe to the channel. But no, this is not a channel that has to do with 3D printing. There's Maker's Muse. If you really want to go and be inspired by people doing incredible work on 3D printers and making incredible stuff, I go to them because I am clueless about what I am doing. So we're going to let this heat up. Hopefully the hot end will. You can see that actually there's very little filament left. I broke that off a second ago when we were replacing the unit. Once again, it's still super quiet at the moment. All the fans aren't going crazy. That's the one thing I'm noticing, is that the power unit fan is not turned on, which I think usually it's constantly running. This board, because that could be something very quick. Or that's dead silent. That's dead silent. That would be so loud right now. Whoa! That is dead silent, man! Whoa! Oh my gosh, there's no sound! And it's putting out... There's no sound! Yeah, worth the 50. Worth the 50. Hands down, very much worth the 50. That's really amazing. No, seriously, there's no sound. Other than that fan, there is no sound. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to what the camera's pointing at. I'm trying to get the microphone as close to it as possible. Oh my word. I'm gonna be able to sleep in peace for once. And print all night long and not have to... And it's not vibrating, it's not going crazy. Alright, we're definitely going to check back on this once it, once it starts printing faster. We have to come back and check this out again. But, well, the timing's not perfect that someone's mowing their lawn at this same moment. I do apologize, but try and listen closely. This is going to start any second now, and you'll immediately hear the motor steppers. It's clear as day as soon as they start running. It's always a high-pitched whine. I mean, that's obvious. And I think it's a sound... It's a sound that everyone would recognize. And I don't know what they've done differently if they're... my curiosity would be like the baud rate. The baud rate's 115,200, so it's the same. But there's something that they've programmed into these stepper motors through the new board that's really making all the difference here. It's got to be it. And that is so shrill and loud. I don't have any filament in here. It's going to dry print for a few seconds, but it's obvious. I mean, night and day difference. Night and day difference. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other one going.
Rewind selector.
Okay, I said I wasn't going to keep recording this, but this is the other printer, and the fan for the shroud is plugged into the bottom one that's just labeled fan. Up in the top, there's one here called fan 1, and that is where the fan from the hot end is coming from. So I think I have that backwards on the other unit, so I'm probably going to have to change that. But I know that now, so you know that now, and hopefully that will not be an issue in the future. So now to continue disassembly, I figured I'd just get a close-up of the board so that you guys could see it as I disassemble it, and maybe it might help you out. You never know when that one little moment is that someone's going to watch a video as they're disassembling or assembling their printer and they're freaking out, and that one moment of you leaning the board a certain way where they could pause it could make a difference. So I'll just go ahead and do this and probably time-lapse it, and you can pause where you need if you feel you need to. Okay, this is interesting. So I've gotten everything in here except the Z, the bed temperature sensor, and the heat sensor. I have two cables here that represent something of that nature. I don't know which is which. So I'm trying to look through this here to see what I can find. Unfortunately, oh, okay. This one here must be the temperature bed sensor. Oh, that's right. There's a wire that's hanging up high up here. This one's our Z sensor, so that's fine. Or our stepper motor for the Z axis. And so I'm following the cables here. This is the heat bed that comes here, and you'll know it's the heat bed because it doesn't have the blue and yellow wire. That's the fan. So this one here is going to be the temperature sensor. Now I'm missing, oh, the fan for the shroud. That's what I'm missing. So everything's in here. I need to bolt this board in now. Everything should be exactly where it's supposed to be, including fan 1, which is where this is, and then I'll put fan 2 for the fan that cools this board. And then I guess I'll have to go back and do that for the other board, because technically I did not do that before. Don't forget about your your main board, your screen, your LCD screen or your touch sensor screen, whatever you're planning on doing for this. And then finally make sure that you line up the mini plug and the SD card. They do slide perfectly into the square, into the inserts on the other side of the printer. So make sure that you get those lined up, or else you're not going to be screwing this in where it's supposed to be. So line those up and you'll be able to screw this in. Once again, I am still stunned by how quiet this is. The stepper motors are just completely obsolete. Dead silent. I mean, the smallest sounds are coming out of it, but nothing to even begin. And the table isn't waggling around like it did before. This is truly beautiful. Yeah, I'm stunned by this. So make sure that if you buy an Ender 3, that you see if you can get it with the board, the 4.2.7 in it, because I know some of them already come with the 4.2.7. If you go into your About on your printer and you look in the settings as you scroll down, I believe it would tell you what... No, that's the Marlin version, excuse me. you do have to open it up or just look at the front of this. If it has that micro USB, then that means you probably got the 4.2.2, 4.2.7. I mean, if it's dead silent, you don't have to worry about it. But if you are needing to upgrade, it's only $50. I'm going to put a link in the, and only I know is not only, but I'm going to put a link in the description. That will be an affiliate link. You will support my channel by buying it through that link, and I deeply appreciate it if you do. It's a no-brainer. Alright, I will say this, in the excitement of having these printers updated, I just realized that there is no filament change setting, which really stinks. So I'm hoping I'm not up to the latest firmware. I'm not sure if I am. If I am, then I'm very confused, because in the other firmware for the Ender 3, which was on the 1.1.4, that you could actually change the filament. And yes, it would change it for the Bowden extruder and not for a direct drive extruder, which means you waste an awful lot of material unless you kind of backdoor it. But the ability to be able to change filament halfway through a print is a must, for me at least, and I'm sure for many people. So I would need to see if upgrading firmware would fix that. But with these new boards, upgrading firmware should be very, very easy in comparison to what it would have taken to do it with the 1.1.4, which would be using an Arduino Uno and a mess of other stuff, which I actually bought to do just that, and I thought, meh, I'll just buy the boards too, just in case. Glad I did. I love it. Now I don't have to apologize anymore every time I'm playing a video game and you're hearing printers going in the background. It's just like 4 fans right now. Actually 6 fans, because the fans are running too, the proper fans. So that's awesome. They're so quiet in comparison to what they were. There's no screaming from the steppers or anything. It's it's amazing. I love it. Hey, keep it crispy, my friends. First Tim 412. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If it was helpful to you, let me know in the comments below. I don't know a lot about 3D printers. I obviously have 4 of them, but that's because I've learned them enough to be able to use them in the projects that I do. If I can answer your questions, I can try, but honestly, if I may make a suggestion, Maker's Muse is an incredible channel when it comes to 3D prints, and I strongly advise that you go and check him out. He does fantastic work on 3D printing and will probably give you all the information you can possibly need in covering that. So I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.